Hi there. Welcome back to the Mom and Mind podcast. This is another episode of Behind the Sessions. Something that I'm coming in here today is a bit of a soapbox and also kind of speaking on behalf of a lot of very, very frustrated new mothers out there, um, a lot of whom are in my very own caseload, people that I meet with regularly. And that is being the default parent, being sometimes 100% or nearly 100% responsible for all of the new activities, all of the new things that need to be done and thought about and taken care of, and on and on and on. They I spend so many sessions with moms talking about this and them talking to me about it. And I don't get sick of them talking about it, never. What I get really sick of is hearing how we haven't come far enough as a community, as a society, to be supporting new parents, new moms, new default parents, because the workload is there's no way to quantify it, really. There are a million details that are just being handled, from diapers to feeding to sleep schedules to whatever, like, you name it. Go through your own list that you have right now, or if it's been a minute since you've been through this process, go through the list of things you used to have to do, that were by default your responsibility, that you ended up taking care of because either other people didn't do it, didn't want to do it, assumed that you would do it, or didn't even recognize that you were doing it and just like kind of had no clue. There's so many dynamics in here, some of which I will not go into today. But damn, it is exhausting, exhausting. So much so that um, people, and just by this standalone issue of having to be this default parent, the manager, the cruise director, the keeper of details, is enough to stress people out, to create depression that creates anxiety. I mean, I've just had so many conversations just this week about it. And the amount of frustration that the moms have who I meet with, is palpable. You can feel how extended they are, how worn out they are, how worn thin they are by having to do this all the time. You know what else sucks is having to tell people to do better, having to not only be the person who's dealing with all of the million of details, but also trying to convince other people to help, um, that you need them to also share the load. um, Here's the thing, like, some people out there might be thinking, well, why don't they just tell their spouse or their family members that they need more help? Well, first of all, it's not a matter of someone needing help. It's about everybody pitching in their fair share and doing the job of that. This one person didn't create a child. It was created by at least two people, unless you're in a situation where you're a single parent by choice. Still, there are people around who could be helping and should be helping. But if you're in a marriage or a partnership where both of you have signed on to have this child, it is not about helping the default parent. It is about doing your job as the other parent. Uh, it is just, it's infuriating, to be honest. The amount of pressure, the that we are putting on one parent, um, to do all of this work. And it's not even for new parents. It's not even for like people who are just having an infant. I hear these conversations for for moms who are well into parenting with toddlers, with school age kids, that they are still having to do all of these details despite having asked their partner for help, told their partner they needed help, given the partner a list of things to do and to help out with. Um, and here's the thing, what I'm not doing here, I'm not bashing husbands or partners. um that's not the hope or the goal of this. Everybody has their own shit that they're dealing with. What I am talking about is the unbelievable amount of pressure that the in my caseload anyway, the people I meet with, the mom is usually bearing the weight of and the brunt of. The fact that not only are they stressed out, but they have to try and have a conversation with people who sometimes don't want to help, sometimes think that they're doing enough. I've heard this also, from people who are talking to me in therapy, that their partners say, well, they're doing enough already, they're giving all that they can give and they can't do any more, which makes the default parent have to continue doing stuff because the other partner won't help bear the load and share the responsibility. I mean, sometimes as a therapist sitting with people, I'm trying to help my clients figure out how to set boundaries, figure out how to have these discussions, communications, how to stop doing some of the things that they do automatically, and how to try and be comfortable with sometimes things just not getting done. But still, it takes more work for the person who's already suffering. I mean, usually people are coming to therapy because there's some level of suffering happening already. Sometimes people are like, you know, doing fine, coming into therapy, and they just want to work on a couple of things. Fine. But typically, the folks that I'm meeting with are dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, trying to figure out this life transition of like going into trying to help a baby human stay alive, and are also trying to figure out how to help themselves by getting other people to join in. It's just so frustrating. It's frustrating for the mom. It is frustrating that their partners either can't or won't or don't know how uh, to help more than they do. And you know what is also infuriating for me is that we might in session try and work out some plan on like how to get additional help. Okay, if your primary partner isn't going to help or isn't going to be able to help, how can you get other help? That could be other family members. It could be paid care, like childcare or daycare or something like that. And then the partners will block that effort too. So basically, like, no, you have to keep doing all that you've done. I'm not going to help. And I'm going to block somebody else coming in to help. It's absolutely ridiculous. Um, it's just getting to a point with like, as how is somebody supposed to get better and feel better in a scenario where they cannot get out from under the load, mental load, emotional load, workload, task load? Um, and by the way, sometimes doing all of that for their partner too. How's somebody supposed to feel better in that? I don't know. Honestly, it's hard. I can't help somebody feel better if their stressors continue with no reprieve, because it's not about like the person who's coming in for therapy. Sure, maybe we can work on a skill of setting boundaries. We can get comfortable with things not being perfect, or it's not even that. We can try and get comfortable with like whatever the scenario is. But what I can't do is help somebody feel better when their stressors are unrelenting, when potentially trauma is continuing to happen, and they can't catch a breath. But what do we do to moms? We tell them that, oh, well, they should just take a nap or get their nails done or whatever, some band aid of some kind, and that they're supposed to feel better and be better. But the family's not changing, the culture's not changing, society's not changing. You're just like, yeah, just do better, be better, make a decision to feel better. But I'm not going to help. We're not going to help you. And well, you should just try harder. If you're not feeling better by these like band-aids you're putting on, it's still your fault. I call bullshit. I cannot stand it. It drives me nuts. And we are doing this. We as a society are doing this to moms, which, by the way, means we're doing this to families, which means that we are doing this to kids. So I'm not talking about all like the reasonable restrictions that people have, like work schedules and financial limitations, or uh, family living far away. There are for sure things that prevent help from coming in and that impact the workload and stress load on the default parent. I'm not talking about reasonable stuff right now. What I'm talking about is all of the pain, the frustration, the agitation, the anger, the depression, the anxiety that people come to me and other therapists to talk about, where there's no other outlet for it. Um, I've been doing this work as a therapist for a long time. Uh, I'm pretty good at managing my own emotional responses, and all of that stuff. Like I'm not impacted from what my clients are telling me. Meaning like I don't carry it in my body. I'm not like stressed out about it later. I have ways of coping and managing, my own stuff, my own stress, my clients' stuff that doesn't linger with me. But sometimes I just hear so much of the same thing at one time that I feel like this needs to be expressed. And I need to express this on behalf of the people that are suffering through this. I am angry on your behalf, the moms out there who are like stuck with all of this stuff. It is unfair. You do deserve more help. People should be stepping up. I'm not coming here with solutions. I'm not coming here with ways for you to cope when your family's not helping out. No, I'm coming here to express the anger that a lot of you feel, um, that a lot of you express to me, that that I hear and have heard for the years that I've been a therapist. This is a very consistent theme in therapy. People feeling helpless and hopeless, that they have to just trudge through every day, getting less help than they need, and being blamed on some level for not being better and doing better. It's absolutely not okay. The moms, their effort, their attention to detail, all of these things are getting overlooked and or minimized, or moms are being told that, well, like you chose to have a kid, so this is what you get. On some level, that's a message that's out there. I reject it, and I reject it on behalf of everybody who feels this way. It's totally ridiculous. Really, my goal for this episode, I used to do soapbox episodes a while back in the podcast, closer to when I first started. And this is one of those where it's just infuriating what we are doing to moms. And they feel alone in this. They feel like, uh, maybe other people have more help. Maybe other people do have more help, but there are plenty of people who don't have enough help, and who are trying to do their best job as a new parent, as a new mom. And it, like I said, sometimes this lasts for years, but they're exhausted and frustrated and at their wits' end. And what's really, really messed up is that what I also hear is like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Why can't I just take care of all these details? Why do I feel this way? Why am I so stressed out? And it is so ingrained into the fabric of culture in our life that moms are just supposed to like take on all of this responsibility and be happy about it and be unaffected. Also, I call bullshit. We are affected. People are affected by this. And so like I said, my goal for just talking about this is just to speak out loud what I hear from so many people, their anger, their sadness, their frustration. You know what would go a really long way is some like validation, some gratitude for the work that these moms are doing, for just being seen. Like, hey, thank you so much for all that you do. Um, even though even if you can't help, like showing gratitude, um, validating their efforts, letting them know that they're seen, that what they're doing is not invisible labor, that would go a long way. It doesn't seem hard, but it is. I don't, it for some reason it is hard. I think because, people feel guilty, to be honest. Spouses, partners, parents, whoever might feel some guilt on some level, whether it's conscious or unconscious, that they're not doing more. Um, Sometimes it's hard to just say, like, hey, I see you. I see all that you're doing. Um, and I see that you're carrying the bulk of the load here for this new human that we decided to have together. Um, because on some level, it might be admitting that they're not doing more. Anyways, I could go on so many different bird walks here. There's so many different ways that these dynamics impact people, that reasons that it shows up this way. And there's no way I can speak to everybody, but what I can speak to is the impact that it has on a new mom or a mom of many years when they are taking care of the bulk of details and it goes unnoticed. It quite simply wears somebody down, if not contributes to depression and anxiety. So, all of you out there who feel this, who have felt this, who are feeling it now, I see you. I get it. I know how much work you're doing. I know how hard it is. Um, I wish I could change it for every single person, that things were more fair and more balanced, and that you um, were acknowledged and validated and held and seen. I wish I could make that happen for you. But since I can't change everybody's life in those ways, I at least want to acknowledge that your pain is real. So I'm going to step off my soapbox for today. Um, yeah. And I hope that for you out there who's listening, at least, while there may not be a solution, while there may not be a fix for this immediately in your life, I just want you to know that what you're experiencing, why you're experiencing it, and how you're experiencing it is valid. And I hope that the people in your life can acknowledge what you do. The last thing I'll say is that there isn't always a pretty solution. There isn't always like a wrap up to something and life tricks and tips and hacks. Um, Sometimes it's just sharing the collective reality of what we're all going through or what a lot of people have experienced, um, that helps us feel just a little bit less alone, just a little bit more seen. So I hope this soapbox of mine and any others that come down the line are supportive to you in that way. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time.